Welcome to Kindred, hosted by me, Kate, and my sister, Jen. In this podcast, we explore our human relationship to the natural world. In connecting to this planet, we also connect to understanding, compassion, and empathy. How can we see ourselves as not separate or above animals in nature, but a critical and integrated part of an active ecosystem? Through conversations with animal advocates, scientists, conservationists, and many others, we look to inspire a new awareness of how and why we connect to animals and nature in order to repair and restore our relationship to the natural world. Hello, and welcome to the Kindred podcast. Hello, sister. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. How's it going today?
Pretty good. How's it going for you?
It's going good. It's going good. I'm really excited for this episode today, per usual. I don't ever say that like a broken record, but it's true. Also, I just want to sort of introduce, this is one of our little bits of a different format for y'all today. We are interviewing a painter and author about her latest book release. And as we are going to be doing more of these types of episodes in the future, we're going to be titling them book club. So when you see that in your feed, you'll know that we are going to be interviewing someone about their book. And you'll also then be able to find the books via our website, kindredpodcast.co, on our book club page. And we'll have reviews and purchasing options there. So it won't be Jen and I reviewing a book on our own, which we've done in the past, but speaking with the author about their books. And as we'll already be highlighting what we loved the most about their book in their interview, we will not be doing a takeaway for this episode because the takeaway is to buy their book, right? And have your own sort of experience. But we would love to hear about what you thought. And we'd also love it if you could review their books, because that's really helpful. It's really helpful as much as it is to review and rate us. It's equally as helpful to do that for authors, especially at the beginning of their book releases. So, all right, sister, are you ready to move on to our guest? I am.
Yep, I sure am.
All right. So today we are speaking with the lovely Rosalie Haizlett. She's a painter, illustrator, and the author of her latest book titled Tiny Worlds of the Appalachian Mountains. This book is a beautiful immersion into the ecosystems that hold the smalls of the world, the tiny worlds. And you and we got this book and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, blown away. So
yeah, it's gorgeous. I mean, her writing is beautiful, and her artwork to go along with it is just such a treat that it's such a visual feast as well as, it's a really, it's just so lovely. You just want to keep turning the pages and staring at her paintings. She's just amazing. Yeah,
I know, she really is. And, through Rosalie's watercolor illustrations, she, like you're talking about, she highlights native plants, like ones of our family favorites, like the lady's slipper, and which is an absolute beauty. It's like a wild orchid of the woods with her, fabulous bright pink bonnet and like they're like variegated leaves, I guess, like green and a little bit of like darker. Oh, they're just so pretty. And
they are.
She paints and talks about like a vibrant orange salamander that honestly looks like it just flew in from like a tropical jungle. You would never expect to see one like that in the Appalachian Mountains.
Same with the lady slipper, though. It's like, you do not really belong here. You're quite fancy for the Appalachian Mountains.
But it does, though. It's
I know,
well,
it is. It's native. Yeah,
it's fancy.
Where it is.
It's like, do not underestimate us over
That's
here,
right.
people.
Yeah.
So, and then like all the mosses and lichens and slime molds that just like open your mind to a whole new world. And then, for me at least, like all at the same time offering us like a sense of place. It's like a memory from long ago and a reminder that these often missed or overlooked or hard to find
Yeah,
species that make up this like incredible diversity in the Appalachian Mountains, like have always been there. And what I think really hit me too was that despite the ravages that we have put upon that landscape, they are still here. They're
yeah,
still there.
yeah. No,
That
and I
was really
think,
powerful
yeah,
to me.
I think the truth is that also it is overlooked, but part of why I think it resonated so much with you and I is, as we talked about in the interview, because of our time in the West
Yes,
Virginia mountains as children.
yes,
We didn't
yes.
overlook those things and we did see those
Yeah,
on a regular basis. And so
that's
it's like,
right.
oh my gosh, I
Hmm.
remember, even though if you wouldn't
Hmm.
maybe have thought about that in 25 years.
Yeah.
And so that's, I think, bringing your attention back, like you're saying, to those easily overlooked things is such a gift too for people who see the world with those eyes. Is a huge gift.
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, uh, yeah, it's so true, and absolutely. And also I want to mention if you want to see Rosalie's work, what we're talking about, you can get on our Instagram and Facebook at the Kindred Pod, and we're going to be promoting this episode and all her work. You can also find all the links and show notes to this episode via our website, thekindredpod.co. And also follow Rosalie on her Instagram, which is at Rosalie Haizlett, and also her website, rosaliehaizlett.com, where you can buy her book, but you can also buy her prints. She's got all her prints there.
Right.
Some are from the book and some are not. So definitely check this out while you're listening to us. Like to your point, like go and look at these illustrations. It just kind of gives you some depth of what we're talking about. Um, and I was lucky enough to meet Rosalie at one of her book signings in Shepherdstown, West Virginia. That was amazing. And I picked up a couple of her prints that I can't wait to get framed. So that was really fun.
Yeah, that's great.
So, yes, what you said, Jen, like, thank you to Rosalie for highlighting what I think of as the flower of our lineage that connects the women in our family for many generations, starting with our great
Hmm.
grandmother. And that is can you guess what I'm thinking of?
Trillium.
Trillium, yes. Um, and for me, and for offering Jen and I like a joyful reminder of plants and places, like you were saying, through the flowers and fungi she features in this book. Rosalie, thank you. And thank you for sparking memories that offer me a real sense of place through the tiny worlds you elevate in the wild and wonderful landscapes of my life. I don't always have a real sense of place, and this offered some of that to me. So,
Hmm.
all right, so let's head over to meet Rosalie in her tiny world. Lots of love, and we'll see you in the next episode. Rosalie, welcome to Kindred, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to meet you both.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Would you please introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
So my name is Rosalie Haizlett. I am a nature illustrator. I live in Elkins, West Virginia, which is the central part of the state. And yeah, I primarily work in watercolor, pen and ink, some gouache and pastel. I'm kind of trying to mix things up a little bit more this year. And I focus on illustrating things in the natural world that I personally see during my hikes outdoors. So that's a big part of my process is going outside, looking carefully for things that just strike my interest, and then trying to use my illustration skills to showcase these things in a way that teaches my viewers a little bit about the subject and also just kind of creates a sense of curiosity in subjects that especially go overlooked, like weird sort of things on the forest floor that people just hike right by as they're looking for the next big view or waterfall. So
Yeah,
yeah.
well, and you've done this so beautifully in your new book, Tiny Worlds of the Appalachian Mountains, an Artist's Journey. And we are going to be here talking all about this beautiful book that you have written and painted. But before we dig in, I wanted you to sort of share with our listeners how you came to find us and which led us to this conversation. I love this little story.
Yeah, so Cy Montgomery is an author, and she's been one of my biggest inspirations for a lot of years. And she actually endorsed my new book, which
She did.
I freaked out when that
Yeah.
endorsement came in.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
amazing. We are
Yeah.
such big fans too. Yeah.
She's wonderful. And I just really
Hmm.
like the artistic, she's not an artist per se, but she uses her words to paint really vivid imagery of
Hmm.
these animals that she has these connections with. And
Hmm.
I think that's really inspired my work. So I was just looking for interviews that she'd done and stumbled upon yours with her. And I
Great.
think just the hook, the intro to your podcast, the one that you play at the beginning of every
Hmm.
episode, just spoke to me. And I was like, I like these people and I would like to, chat with them and send them my book. If nothing else, just to see my book, because I think
Hmm.
this has been such a passion project. And right now I'm just
Yeah.
trying to get it into the hands of people that I think will enjoy it, because
Hmm.
that's my ultimate goal.
And you had seen this silly video that Jen and we had posted on Instagram with us at Cranny Crow in West Virginia, and you were like,
Mhm.
"Wait, I know where that is." And then you emailed me, I think, and you're
Yeah.
like, "Hey, so I know where that is." I'm like, "Wait, who are you?" And like, you know Cy, and it just was a great way to meet you. So thank you so
Yeah.
much for being on here today. So let's dig in. So Rosalie, tell us about your new book, A Tiny World of the Appalachian Mountains.
So I kind of just went for my vision. I didn't try to fit this book into any specific genre. So it's an illustrated book that's for all ages. It's not a kid's book. It's not just for adults. I kind of call it like a family book because there are 150 illustrations. So it's very vibrant. And I think I've shown it to my nieces and nephews, and they really like it because of all of the
Hmm.
illustrations. But also, I have personal essays about my own connection to nature, and they kind of spiral out into other topics of family and just the things that you think about on long hikes when you're by yourself and your mind is
Hmm.
just going wild and you see something that sparks, this whole story. So it has personal essays and then illustrations and written observations of tiny, often overlooked, oftentimes weird or like creepy crawly plants, animals, and fungi that
Hmm.
I personally saw on a big long trip that I took throughout the whole Appalachian Mountain chain. And my husband and I did that trip in 2022.
Okay.
We started in Alabama, which is the southernmost part of the Appalachians in the Cheaha Wilderness. And then we road tripped and hiked up the whole mountain range for 6 months on a continuous road trip, all the way up to,
Whoa. It
yes,
was
it
continuous. That's
was
crazy.
continuous.
Wow. Well, I
Yeah.
guess COVID was a good time to do that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was 2022, so those
Yeah,
things were
coming
kind
out
of
a little bit.
winding down a
Yeah.
little bit, but we yeah, we I came up with this idea like a week before we got married, and I just called my husband at work, or he wasn't even my husband then, and I was like, "Hey, I have this idea." And originally it was just going to be um it was going to be called Appalachia Illustrated, and it was going to be more
Mm.
focused on
Hmm.
all of the natural observation I made, big and small, in the Appalachian region, which is different from the Appalachian Mountains. So the Appalachian
Yeah.
region
Hmm.
is more of a cultural region.
Hmm.
It includes, Kentucky, West Virginia, North Carolina, all those states, more southern Appalachian. And then
Hmm.
the Appalachian Mountains go over 2,000 miles from Alabama to Newfoundland. So
Right.
much, much further north than people think. Um,
Absolutely. I didn't
yeah.
actually know until your book that they kind of end in Nova Scotia. Like, I'm sorry, Newfoundland. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, too, we didn't know that until I started researching this book project.
Yeah,
And
fair.
then, the day I came upon that in a geography book, I was like, oh my God, we have to go there. We have to do
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Oh, incredible. Incredible. So And I love that it's tiny worlds because actually you bring together your world and we're all in our small worlds and you kind of bring your mindset and your world to these tiny worlds along the way and it's a beautiful illustration on many levels. But what was like the compulsion? Like what made you say this is something I have to do? And because it's no small feat to one take on that, let alone writing, painting. This is a big journey.
It was a lot. Yeah, it was about 2 years of near full-time work. And looking back on this, I now know that in order to like complete something like this, you have to really believe in it. And
Mhm.
I think the compulsion, so my interest in tiny things has been a lifelong thing. I remember going to a summer camp as a kid, and one of our projects was to create mini bedrooms. And it
Ah,
just like, I loved it. And then I came home and made all these like mini other rooms.
oh,
And then
cute.
I also had, I don't know if you read this in the book yet, but I was obsessed with rodents. I had a rodent club as a
Oh,
kid. So
yes.
I just loved tiny critters. And so I've always kind of been interested in the creatures and all sorts of things that just are kind of
Mm-hmm.
hidden.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I also feel very passionate about being from West Virginia, seeing the headlines and knowing the history of exploitation of our natural resources and seeing it like the farm I grew up on was strip mined and logged. And
Mm-hmm.
it's taken so many decades for it to look healthy again, but it's still like, it's still ravaged. Like there's acid
Yeah,
mine drainage, and that's just like all over this region.
Yeah.
right.
So I feel like I have this personal like I love this place, and
Mm,
I think if we see it as a place that's like too far gone, then we won't take the measures needed to protect it. And so if I
mm,
show the things that still are here, that are still thriving, even though so many species have been pushed out or
yeah,
their ranges have been limited, but there still are a lot of resilient species here.
yeah.
And so I really wanted to create this like time capsule of
Mm-hmm.
what the Appalachian Mountains look like now, and just get people thinking about like there are so many critters that we share this home with, and we need to celebrate them and know that they're
Mhm.
here in order to protect them.
Absolutely. And I mean, it just sounds like it was just time for this project to be born and to reveal
Mhm.
itself. And I think Jen and I can really relate to so much of this, and we're going to get to this part in the second, but it's like I love what you're saying, what's still there. Like the fact that like you've every time we go back to our place in the mountains, we're like, oh my gosh, is there a lady slipper? Is there ghost pipes? Like we search these things out and it is a joyful thing to when we come across, we're like, oh my gosh, it's still here. That's
Mhm.
a really lovely thing. So we're going to
Yeah.
be,
And
yeah, go ahead, Jen.
I was just thinking, like you say, well, I'm not a biologist, but you talk like a conservationist though too. Like you're an artist, but you also have a conservationist eye about, that these things deserve to be celebrated and protected. I love that too, that it's not just a pretty book about little things, but it's like because you want to celebrate the fact that there's a lot of that's still here. And if we are mindful, we can protect that too. I like that. I think
Yeah,
that's great.
it's a really important mindset shift, I think. And I noticed it in myself when I came back to the family farm that I grew up on. And after doing this big long trip, we moved back, and I just noticed that I was way more aware of critters that were there and had been there all along that I
Hmm.
never noticed, like
Hmm.
kingfishers. I never knew that we had kingfishers on our creek. And then I was in Quebec, I think, on the trip, and I texted my dad some pictures of kingfishers, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we have tons of those on the farm."
Right. Yeah, I get that though.
I,
That makes total
yeah, I
Yeah.
think
sense.
because I had kind of like seen the degradation and thought like, oh, there's just not much here anymore. Like
Hmm.
Right.
it
Yeah.
kind of made me sad to like walk around the farm sometimes because I just felt like it used to be so much better, so much more
Yeah.
biodiverse. But then when I
Yeah.
came home and started looking, I found a lot more. And I think it's just a hopeful message, and I think we need more hopeful messages right now.
For
for
sure.
sure.
And giving like depth to the story, continuing the story, not staying with the same narrative as it changes, changing with it. I think it's so
Mhm.
important. So we're going to be a little selfish and we're going to kind of go into the middle of your book, where it's like the Maryland, West Virginia. I just want to highlight some of our favorites. We have like six of them here. But if we could start with your beautiful painting you did when you talked about the Luna moth, where did you find her along the trail?
So I found her in North Carolina in
Okay,
the Tessentee Bottomland Preserve. And that is a cool kind of thing because a local land trust that my friend's a part of, they've worked to rehabilitate this old farm and turn it into a nature preserve that's available to the public.
great.
And just kind of cool to see initiatives like that. Like it doesn't have
Hmm.
to be a big national park,
That's
but like
right.
an
That's
Oh,
right.
individual
totally.
Mhm.
a landowner can like make that happen
Yeah,
and
I think
share
that's
that
where it's
space.
at. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, that was fun because I was looking for morels. It was morel season. I was with that
Mm.
friend that helped
Hmm.
create that preserve, and we were walking around and not finding any morels. We were about to go home, and then this just gorgeous green Luna moth was
Oh.
perfectly poised on the base of an apple tree because it was an old orchard next to a homestead.
Mm.
Mm.
And it was flawless. It looked like maybe it had just emerged because there was not a single like tear or
Hmm.
imperfection.
Yes.
It
And I
was
know
just
exactly
beautiful.
what you mean by the tears because
I do
often we would
too.
see that.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yes.
And
exactly.
how vibrant the green was too. Like it wasn't that sort of more sagey green. It was so
Yeah.
green. It's got to
Yeah.
been
Oh,
new.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful.
yeah.
Oh, that's so lovely. And
Yeah.
just for
And
people
that,
who don't know, morels are mushrooms. Is that true?
yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. They're
Yeah.
edible mushrooms.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. I mean, you can see it's like that is a proper Luna moth. And Jen, you have a tattoo with a Luna moth, don't
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
It's
I have a
gorgeous.
Oh,
tattoo on my back that I have some things that are like West Virginia, like a Luna moth. I have a thistle because where we in our county, they're just, in the summer they're just lining the
yeah.
the wildflowers and the thistles everywhere and things like that. But the Luna moth is I saw one as a kid and it blew, I would say blew my mind is
Oh,
Yeah.
the
yeah.
only thing I could say.
Enchanting.
Like I just
Enchanting.
Yeah.
I just there's something so magical, and the more I like know about them, like moths are so magical to me, and yeah, there's something like it was just otherworldly, like a princess. It wasn't as beautiful as a Luna moth was to me,
Yeah.
Well,
it's
maybe
just
it
like
wasn't like that's a princess, right? I
no,
mean, I
right,
know what you
exactly,
mean. It's
like I
just like
just
what it's
so
so magical. And often it
yeah.
would be like later, like either early morning or like you would see it so randomly and out of the blue and it
Yeah.
just double take. What is this creature? They're
I
just
know.
Yeah,
They're
stunning,
huge.
they're
stunning,
huge
stunning.
and just
Like
absolutely
like
gorgeous. So
nose to tail, they're probably
Maybe like
four to
six
six
six, I was
inches.
inches.
going to say six
Yeah.
inches, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I mean, just I'm gonna we're gonna post pictures of all these things. We'll put links to all these things. Like I just like we got so excited talking about this. So the next one we want to talk about is Trillium. So Trillium is like a generational experience for us women in our family. My grandmother was
Ooh,
obsessed with them, and my
okay.
mother loves them. She's been trying to grow them here and there. She took some from my grandmother's house. She's grew them at her old house. She gave them to Jen to try. They did not work for me, sadly. They did work for Jen, but like Trillium to me is like the flower that represents my grandmother. So tell us about
Hmm.
Trillium.
So I found them a lot in April in North Carolina. So we started April 1st. We started this trip and we started in Alabama and then worked our way up to North Carolina. Spent about a month in North Carolina and then saw a whole bunch in Virginia too. And that was the next stop. So that was May in Virginia. And
Yeah.
I think most frequently we saw the great white trillium, which is
Yeah.
just
Oh,
bright
yeah.
white when it first emerges. And then it
Hmm.
becomes like a pale pink. At first I thought they
Mm-hmm.
were two different species, but they just change
Mm.
color. And then the painted trillium is gorgeous. It's the white one with the bright crimson middle,
Yeah,
Ooh.
and
they're
the red
gorgeous.
trillium.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those three were all over. And one interesting thing, and I included this visual in the book that I learned about trillium, is that ants are a main seed disperser for them. So after they flower, they create this little red fruit, and there are seeds in this fruit, and each seed has a little fat packet on it. And ants will take the seeds back to their little underground spots where they live,
Right.
and they will feed the seeds to their babies because the babies, it's perfect ant baby food, those little fat
Mm.
packets.
Oh my God, I
And
love
then
this.
they bury their excrement because ants are very organized.
And
And it
very
creates
neat.
the perfect
Hmm.
place for little trilliums to grow. So yeah,
Oh,
I like to
incredible.
say if you see a trillium, thank an ant
Yeah,
because
no kidding.
Yes.
an
Yeah,
ant
that was
might
Shout
news
out
to
to
my
ants.
mom.
I love ants. We did a whole
Yeah,
episode on ants. Like, yes, this
Oh,
is
really?
incredible. Oh yeah.
yeah,
And I
I have
didn't
to
even like
listen.
know, I didn't know about that reciprocal
me
relationship.
neither.
It's incredible. I knew it. I
Mhm.
learned about it recently with peonies, but not with trillium.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah,
Incredible.
ants
and
are
then
amazing.
they actually spread the seeds that way. I just assumed, the seeds fell like other things, and then they would like seed themselves. But that is extra magical. It seems like some kind of magical children's story that the
It
ants
Yeah.
take them,
is.
and
It is. It
just you
is.
could picture the underground. I think maybe I see a children's book in your future where you have the
Wow.
underground structure with the ants taking their seeds. And anyway, it
Well,
just is
Yeah.
so
but I'll
magical.
say
Yeah,
this book does that though. This I feel like is embodied. You do bring in that magic to the book, and I think
yeah.
that's what's so cool. And you talk about the ants, and I do see how children would love this, but it's very adult oriented too, and
Mhm.
Yeah.
I love that. So the other one that we love so much, and when Jen and I were up last to the mountains, my mother tasked us with finding this gorgeous girl, and we did. We were so excited. We just happened to be there at the right time, and that's the lady's slipper. And you do such a
Mhm.
beautiful painting of that. It's really
Hmm.
pretty.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I think I only saw one Pink Lady slipper that was in bloom on our journey. I see a few usually every year, but the ones I've seen this year have been mostly too far gone. I kind of missed that window.
Hmm.
They're
Okay.
hard to find. They're pretty
Yeah,
rare.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think people do poach them,
Yes, I
unfortunately.
think so.
So you
Because
have to
they're
be,
pretty amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. But I just really love how feminine they are. And this
Hmm.
one that I featured in the book was like standing on this little ridge above the trail all by herself. And she just looked like such a like superstar, like on a stage by herself.
Oh, talk
Yeah,
about
they are
Dolce and
fabulous.
Gabbana, girl.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, feminine but bold. You're like, what
Oh yeah.
is that? Like, this plant is
Mhm.
its own thing. Yeah, really
Yeah.
gorgeous, really
They're incredible.
gorgeous.
I'm just starting to learn more about our native orchids, and I feel like that is
Mm,
a rabbit hole that I'm excited to go down.
Hmm.
okay, well, keep us because that is like orchid-like. It's just so beautiful. So one thing I found really interesting too that I'd never knew is you talk about the Blue Ridge Mountains, obviously, the trail goes through there and you spend a lot of time there. It's where you live. So why tell us about the mountains and you talk about why they're blue, actually.
Yeah, so there's a chemical that the trees are emitting, and this interaction happens when the light hits it that turns them this hazy blue color. So it's like the light being refracted. Yeah, I don't know too much more about that in detail, but
Yeah, you call it
and
an
why they're
organic chemical that's released, and then from the conifer trees, and then it sort of has this interaction with the light, and it sort of gives off this blue hue, and it's really true. I mean, Jen,
amazing.
we've seen
Hmm.
that. We know
Yeah.
what
Oh,
Yeah.
you're
yeah.
talking about,
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
rolling in on, and we take this. So you also mention Front Royal. So when we grew up in Maryland, we would drive from Maryland to our cabin. Obviously, we would go through this really, 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 really stinky town called Front Royal, and it smelled like rotten eggs because
Oh.
there
Hmm.
used to be a paper factory there.
Paper
Is that
mill
right,
there.
Jen?
Yeah.
A paper
Hmm.
mill.
Hmm.
So we all be like, ew, plugging our nose, and we knew we are kind of like halfway there.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I guess in the last 20 years, they've built this beautiful, it's called Skyline Drive, and you talk
Mhm.
about that. And so when you come in to Gore, where is it that we pick it up? And then you go up, 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 and you're like driving through the treetops and the tops of the mountains. And
Mhm.
at certain times of day, depending where you see that blue happening. And
Mhm.
Skyline Drive is just one of the most beautiful routes I've ever driven on the planet. It is
Yeah.
absolutely stunning.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I love about that stretch and Shenandoah National Park in general is it's so accessible to anybody. Like if you can't walk and you have to just drive in a car, you can take that road and you can see amazing vistas on either side of the ridge.
So true.
And you can get off there, all these like waypoints where you can get off and take pictures. But then also the Appalachian Trail goes all the way through there, so you can hike it and really like get out there, see the black bears, see all of the flora and fauna. So it just feels like something that everybody of all ages and abilities can get back to nature there, which I really like.
Yeah, it really, it's so true. So last couple of things I want to talk to you about are next one is mountain laurel. So on our mountain, if you're at the right time, mountain laurel, this beautiful dark green thick leaves with these exquisite tiny pinkish whitish flowers. And my friend of mine growing up, the little stems are really sticky, so we used to pull them off and stick them to our shirts and be like, "Ooh, look at my corsage." Oh yeah, we were so fancy up in those mountains. But we love the mountain laurel. We have tons of pictures of those. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. And Pennsylvania, where you all live, I feel like it just puts on such a show in like June and July with the mountain laurel. And I feel like it's interesting because it doesn't just grow here and there. It grows in like
so much
swaths.
of it. Yeah, when you have it, you have it. Yeah,
yes,
a lot of it. Yeah.
It feels like you're going through like a bridal
yes
yeah,
absolutely,
especially
very
when
bridal
the
party
white petals start falling.
Yeah.
It's just like gorgeous.
Yeah, totally. They really are.
They really are. And it's interesting. I have to look this up, but there must be some reciprocal kind of relationship between mountain laurel and blueberries, because blueberries often, where on the mountain where we are, tons of blueberry bushes, and they're all intertwined. They must really like each other, or the pollinators I have to look that up.
Well, I think it might be because they both do well in acidic soil. So because I've also noticed that as well.
They definitely tend to hang out together. Yeah.
So one of the more spooky, I would say, things that we used to come across, and they're extremely delicate. They're gray and white and black. They're called ghost pipes. And these things are also extremely rare to find, but we have them on the mountain. Another thing that I used to just be absolutely enamored by, and you found them and you love them too. You did a beautiful painting of them in the book.
Yeah, so I've thought for years that they were a type of mushroom because they are kind of clear and
they look super fungusy-ish, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
So many people think that, but actually it's just because they don't photosynthesize, because they get their nutrients from the roots of trees. So so they don't, that's why they're not green like normal plants, but they're actually a wildflower, which is hilarious.
Get out.
Yeah, so they have a full flower inside. And whenever they get old, they kind of tilt their flower petals straight up, and they kind of turn brownish black. And that's when you can really see the seeds inside the center of the flower.
Cool.
But yeah, I think they look so wild. I love that they grow in clusters because they just look like a ghostly chorus. And because they don't need much sunlight, they can grow in like really deep, dark, mossy forests. And so
that's That's I think why they're extra, extra dramatic is because there they are, just popping out of this, like there's a lot of moss around them a lot of times, and just the dark, and they almost look like they're made of wax to me. Like they look otherworldly and not really very real. It's like
that's a good way to describe it. That's good, Jen. They are wax. They do look, because they're a little translucent, and but you don't even once you touch one, you're like, ooh, they're so incredibly delicate. Actually, we were in Acadia National Park a couple of years ago, and I saw them there. I was like, oh my gosh, ghost pipes, and my family were like, my husband's family were just like, what? So I showed them to them. It was really very magical. They're so cool. So it's because they don't photosynthesize. Okay, that's very cool.
That's so cool. Yeah, a friend of ours who's an artist who lives in town here, she did a picture of those, and I don't know if you know that. I gave it to Greg as a present one year.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
Because I felt they were so much of our childhood.
Yes.
And then I think our mountain where we camp then we went through a big bad ice storm. A lot of trees came down. There was some timbering done, and the forest floor changed completely. And there was so much light in there that they disappeared for a long time. And now it's gotten back to the place, like what you're,
Mhm.
it reminds me of what you were talking about with your family's farm. Like it just got kind of decimated. And it's like, wait, I don't even recognize this place as what it was when we were kids, where we could go in that understory all the way down the mountain and you could just walk because it was clear because of the trees. And now it's like that again. So we're seeing a resurgence of them. But they're so evocative of me being a young child, and then there was a time
Yes.
when they weren't there anymore. So to see them again is just like, it's just
Yes.
very magical to me
Yeah.
that that they're back,
Yeah.
that nature is recovering is what it's the
Yes.
sign from for me
Mhm.
about
Yeah.
too,
Mhm.
which is
Mhm.
very hopeful. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. And I think that they're also just one of those species that it's like a little hook for people that maybe aren't super into nature. But I
Mhm.
found that if I'm like walking with a friend and they're, like they're along for like the snacks or like the swim at the end or something, when I point out ghost pipes, they're
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
that thing is weird. They really
Yeah.
like it. So
Uh-huh.
I tried to include quite a few of those species in the book
Yeah.
that like the Luna moth, like you
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
deny how incredible that
Yeah.
is.
Right. You don't have
Yeah.
to be like a super nature geek to
No.
appreciate that. Yeah. Good point. That's a good
Yeah.
point.
Well, and it's just like I'm working on sort of putting some of our property kind of back to nature and trying to figure out like how to do that. There's so many invasive species out there. So when you see these ancient species of plants of the flora, and they've been here for a long, long time, and that you're still seeing them is just it's magical. And I'm all for the snacks. Give me snacks and ghost pipes. Like
Same.
I love a like, but it's like that thing when you can tell someone about that and they're like, wait, what? Like how rare they are, why the whole like sort of story of them, and that stuff
Mhm.
is really powerful.
Yeah.
Um, so the last one we always joke about in our family, my mother, it's hilarious. We always talk about the grossest terms to give to a beautiful plant. And the last one I love that you featured in your book that I want to talk about is bladderwort. And she's like, she's like, well, does she call it swollen bladderwort? I'm like, well, maybe, but this is like these terms, these horrendous, like, ooh, there's some other ones. We always joke about what's the grossest one.
Yeah.
To
Mhm.
these sweet, beautiful flowers. Not sure why that is, but the
Yeah.
bladderwort really rates high in our family.
Yeah. Yeah. And I saw quite a few of those as we worked our way up north,
Mm,
especially like in Maine, we were paddling on Kidney Pond in Baxter State Park, which is one of our favorite places that we stopped along the way. It's just super wilderness. It's
yeah.
great.
Mhm.
But we found little floating bladderwort, which is
Oh,
a floating species, and it has like this little raft made out of leaves. And it is the most, what is it? I want to get this right. It's the fastest known predator in the world, including jaguars and all of those crazy cats.
Wait. Sorry.
it's a
No
predator?
one can
Yes,
see our face. We're both like contorting our faces like, okay.
it's true.
Yes,
Yeah.
explain.
So it's a carnivorous plant and it eats
Okay.
microorganisms in the water. And it has these little bladders. That's why it's called bladderwort. It has these tiny little bladder pouches growing on its roots underneath the water. And it's just kind of streaming weirdly through the water. And
Mm,
yeah, it uses air pressure, a difference in air pressure between the air pressure in the bladder and the air pressure of the water to
cool.
and little tiny hairs on the bladders to trigger this trap. And whenever a little microorganism swims by, the hairs get tickled. It opens its mouth and sucks in all the water, including those little nutrients. So
Wow.
yeah,
I mean, you can't make this shit up. Like, sorry to
I
swear, but that is
know.
bananas.
I
Yeah.
know.
And it's
And the
like,
thing
is it
it's
like sort
like
of
four
like
inches tall.
it's like
Oh,
farting
wow.
it's like farting its way through the water, kind of? Like,
Yeah,
what is happening?
I
It's
don't know.
amazing.
Yeah,
Like an
yeah,
aquatic Venus flytrap type of situation, it sounds
yeah,
like. Yeah, that's
yeah.
so bizarre.
With cheetah
Bizarre.
speed. Okay,
Yeah,
well,
Uh-huh.
exactly.
we'll
The
have to
fastest
it's
predator.
the
Who
fastest
Yeah,
knew?
water.
I
That is
know.
Wow.
incredible. Wait,
Yeah.
okay. All
Your
right.
mind is blown.
My mind is
Yeah.
blown. And so there's bladderwort, land bladderwort too, and then these are such pretty
Mhm.
flowers. So
Uh-huh.
do they don't move on land though. These ones are
No, yeah.
okay.
Yeah, there's stationary ones.
Okay.
Yeah, I included horned bladderwort in the book too. I saw that in Newfoundland. And that's another
Yes.
carnivorous plant too, but
Right.
I don't think it's the fastest.
Oh, well, not everyone
Well,
can
we
be as
can't all
fast
be
as
the
the old
fastest.
water
Right,
bladder
that's right.
wart. You know, that
Yeah,
one,
Yeah.
that
that's
one.
crazy.
So, Rosalie, I have a question for you.
Sure.
So when you're out in the natural world, like from your experience, like what does it feel like to you? Like how does it activate your humanness and connect you to all these incredible plants and animals and ecosystems that you're so keenly paying attention to and looking out for and listening for? And what is that like for you?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I feel like since I've been gearing up for my first book tour and like all of the marketing and all of that, I've spent less time outside in the past couple months than I
Mm,
usually do. And I've just been feeling this like just tension.
yeah.
And last week I made myself go on like a full day hike by myself. And because, and it's when you feel like you have so many things to do, it's hard to just break
Yeah,
away
hard to
and
make
make it
time. Yeah.
happen. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
did. And it was so crazy because as soon as I walked, like as soon as I got on the trail, maybe a minute in, I felt myself just release this huge exhale.
Mhm.
And I
Mm,
thought, like, I don't remember the last time I've breathed so deeply. Like it had been a while. Because that also, when you feel stressed, sometimes it's hard to breathe fully because you're like, I don't have time. I don't have time.
Mhm.
yeah.
But it just like instantly put me at ease. My shoulders dropped, and I think uh, I feel that deeply. I feel like I need it to be regulated as a human. But then also, I think by looking for interesting things outside. It's not just about like the exercise of it or the way I feel, but it also turns into like something that transports me into that world because you're just like tuned in.
Mhm.
Hmm.
I think it's really easy sometimes to go into like autopilot on a hike or a walk and just be
Mm,
like thinking about work things or whatever. But if you have that mission of noticing, so what I like to do is try to notice one thing on each outing that's interesting. And it's
mm,
so funny because every time I find something, and
hmm.
even after doing this book and seeing all these things, there are still new things every time. And it might not be like jaw dropping, but it's like something that, oh, I didn't know that. And I think of myself as like a baby naturalist because I'm very much self-taught and I've only started learning a lot more about these things in the past 6 years or 7 years. But I like to think about like creating like a tapestry of observations and like not trying to become this like awesome naturalist right now, but thinking about like a lifetime journey of slowly adding little like strings. Each observation I think of as a string that I'm like weaving into this tapestry of this just lifelong journey to understand my non-human neighbors better. And I don't know, I like that kind of like takes the urgency off, I think for
Mm,
me.
Yeah,
Like
for
I don't
sure.
need to know everything.
Right.
I don't need to memorize everything.
hmm.
But if I can just like slowly build onto this general awareness, then like think about how at home I'll feel outside when I'm like 70. Like that, I don't know, it's just
Mm,
exciting to me to think about like this is a lifelong pursuit.
And it takes, like you said, it does take some of the pressure off because it's a marathon more than a sprint. It's not, it doesn't
Yeah.
have to happen today. It's just, and I
No.
love what you said about just being aware because I feel like we have lost in a lot of ways we've cut out the time to do things like that just take time to just stop and slow down and pay attention, that it's so relaxing for our whole selves when we can do it, that it's like, oh my goodness, how I can't afford not to do that. But it's so
Yeah.
easy to forget, like you said, when the busyness of life happens, that, well, I've got too much to do, so I can't get out for my walk today or whatever. But at what cost then when you cut those kind of things to not only yourself, but also think about to our whole world, because
Yeah.
that's reciprocal. And what you're
hmm.
Yeah.
get, like you've created this book now from your observances in
Right. Yeah.
nature. And, I just think it's a beautiful thing. And it really isn't optional for a lot of us. And it's
Mm,
just good to remember that. It's
Mhm.
yeah,
really
it's
just
really
got to be part
true.
of the fabric of our lives. And
Mhm.
what a meditative and peace bringing experience it is when you do that. It's just like, oh my gosh, I forgot how much I needed this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, I
it's
can
so good
so
on so
relate to
many
that.
levels.
Oh,
I
I could
love that.
so relate to that. So I'm going to leave our guests with a little teaser. I don't want you to tell us what it is. So near the end of the book, you talk about a tuckamore. And it sounds like one of the most magical, natural, sort of created spaces that I've ever heard about. I would like to find one and experience it. And if you would like to learn about them, you can go to wherever you buy books and buy Tiny Worlds of the Appalachian Mountains, An Artist's Journey, and find out what I'm talking about, because it's really incredible. And I've never heard of it and I've never come across one, but I can't wait to. So buy Rosalie's book. It's so sweet. It is a family. It's an individual. It's for anyone who exists, who likes pictures, who loves art, who loves meditative moments that you share with us.
And when is the book actually officially out?
On September 1st.
Okay, very good.
Yeah. And I am doing a book tour, so
we'll keep our eyes peeled. Yeah.
If you live on the East Coast, I might be coming to a city near you.
Oh, very cool.
Oh, girl, please hit me up. DM me.
I have a couple PA stops, so.
Okay.
Well, we can come and find you too. That would be absolutely great. This is such a great book. There's so much magic and mystery and lore embedded in these tiny worlds that you have written about and painted. And I spent many hours as a childhood down in the carpets of that thick green moss and the tiny, tiny lichens and this beautiful fungi creating all of these little fairylands. I used to do all of that. And so yes, please find your book. And you can buy this. And once this episode is out, your book will be out. So you can get it through Amazon, I'm guessing, pretty much anywhere you buy books. Yeah, that's so great. Well, Rosalie, thank you so much for sharing your experience of these magical spaces with us. It was a beautiful exploration down memory lane for Jen and I, and thank you so much.
Well, I just have to say, I haven't shared this book with many people at all. Maybe 10 or 12 people have seen it at this point. So just hearing your feedback and hearing how it resonates with you makes me want to cry, honestly, because this is like, I'm gearing up to send it out into the world, but I just feel so relieved that it's reaching people. So, 100%. I'm crying.
Oh,
Rosalie, that's very sweet. No, big fans, honestly. And let this give you, it is that thing where you create something and then you let it go, you put it out there, and it becomes everyone else's. And that is a very, it's a big emotional moment. I understand that. So. But I feel really honored that we are one of the few people that got your book. I mean, truly, these girls know. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh. So, I just got a book that no one else has. It's called Tiny Worlds, and it's a reveal. So, again, Rosalie, we'll let you go. I know you're going to get just busier and busier. Give you some time to get out there with those tiny, tiny little lichens, and we will hopefully see you soon.
All right. Thank you so much. Take care.
Kindred is hosted by me and my sister Jen, produced by Kat Gaddy and myself, sound production and editing by Dan Cooper, original music by Ellie Grace, and our Kindred artwork was created by Lindsay Coffin. Please follow, rate, and review wherever you listen to podcasts, and feel free to contact us through our website at kindredpodcast.co, where you can also find details about Kindred Plus, our subscription service, as well as links to our social media accounts and show notes.